Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to completely untangle the chaotic, lore-heavy narrative of an absolutely fascinating South Indian horror thriller. We are stepping right into the dark, echoing halls of the Rajmahal. If you've ever tried to piece together one of those complex, supernatural mysteries where literally every character seems to be hiding something, you know exactly how thrilling it can be to finally connect all the dots. Well, today, we're gonna do exactly that.
Okay, let's jump right in by asking the single most crucial question, the one that really kicks off this entire supernatural whodunit. Did Selvi actually take her own life after her husband's sudden death? I mean, on the surface, it seems like a tragically simple tale, right? A husband dies suddenly of a heart attack while out for a jog, and his completely devastated wife supposedly hangs herself in despair, leaving their young kids behind. But as we're about to find out, the actual truth is just way, way more sinister.
Section 1. The Rajmahal Mystery. Peeling back the first layer.
To get to the bottom of this, we have to talk about the huge disconnect between the authorities and reality. The official police theory, they're perfectly happy wrapping it up in a neat, tidy little bow. Natural death, tragic suicide, case closed. But the ground reality that Selvi's lawyer brother uncovers is a completely different story. He knows his sister. He knows for a fact she promised to return to her children, and that's a promise she just wouldn't break. So he quickly realizes they aren't looking at a grieving widow at all. They are looking at a brutal, supernatural crime scene.
Naturally, the investigation first points to human foul play, because that's where your mind goes, right? We've got a pretty solid initial suspect list. There's the village president, there are these really aggressive local moneylenders, all of whom have pretty clear financial motives tied to the Rajmahal property. Oh, and then there's this mysterious Baba spotted out in the jungle performing strange rituals with photographs of the deceased. But actually, scratch that. It's a classic misdirection. The brother starts putting the pieces together, and it becomes terrifyingly clear that the real culprit isn't motivated by money or petty grudges at all.
Section 2. The demonic shadow, Bog. An ancient evil awakens. Because as the bodies start piling up, it hits us. This is definitely not your run-of-the-mill murder case. Let's define exactly what we're dealing with here. Meet the Bog. This is a terrifying dual-nature entity originally from Assam. And what makes this demon so incredibly unique and deadly is its amphibian nature. It can literally survive on land and in the water. The medical examiner even finds this highly specific aquatic poison in the victim's blood, the kind you'd only find in certain amphibians, which paralyzes them. So we're not just dealing with a ghost rattling chains in the attic, this is a biological, ancient predator.
The history of this thing is wild, spanning centuries. Way back, the ancestors of the Bhairava sect actually managed to capture it up in Assam. But decades ago, a fleeing priest made a huge mistake and accidentally let it loose. The demon didn't waste any time. It killed the priest's daughter, stole her physical form, and just hid in plain sight. Now, fast forward to the present day, and it has migrated all the way down south to Tamil Nadu, showing up at the Rajmahal for one very specific, terrifying reason.
And get this, the demon's ultimate goal is what really raises the stakes. The Baba from the Bhairava sect drops a bombshell. The demon's soul was separated from its full power. To get back to its godlike, ultimate evil status, it can't just go on a random killing spree. No, it specifically needs to consume 3 exact human souls.
Section 3. The Triangle of Death. The Rule of 3.
So who exactly is the Bog targeting? Let's break down the victims because the connections here are chilling. First up, we have the local police inspector, 30 years old, brutally killed in the jungle. Then there's Ravi, the village president's son, 20 years old, manipulated into his death through this horrific illusion. And finally, we have little Shakti, Selvi's daughter, who is just 10 years old and currently fighting for her life in a coma. Notice the math there? 30, 20, 10. An incredibly precise gap.
This is absolutely crucial. None of this is random. These 3 victims share some wildly eerie commonalities. First off, they were born on the exact same date and time. Second, every single one of them has the exact same red birthmark. And third, they were all born during the highly specific astrological cycle of the Mahanarg Panchami festival. Essentially, they are perfectly aligned supernatural batteries, just waiting for this ancient demon to use them.
And that number, 10, is literally the key to the whole puzzle. It represents the 10-year cycle of the village's grand Mahanag Panchami festival. The demon has systematically tracked down these 3 people who were born precisely 1 cycle apart over the last 30 years.
What all this means is that the demon is on a super strict ticking clock. The Bog
has to consume these 3 specific souls during the Abhijit Muhurat, which is this incredibly narrow astrological window of the current festival. If that festival ends and it hasn't consumed all 3, including little Shakti's soul, the whole centuries-long plan completely fails.
Section 4. A Mother's Sacrifice. The True Story of Selvi. This brings us to the real emotional core of today's explainer. Think about it for a second. If Shakti was the youngest, the closest, and honestly the most vulnerable target when the demon first broke into the Rajmahal wearing her father's face, what stopped it? It easily took out the 2 older, stronger men, so why on earth is this 10-year-old girl still alive?
Well, here is the devastating truth. Selvi did not take her own life out of weakness or some unbearable grief. Not at all. When the demon attacked her husband and then came for her kids, Selvi figured out that mortal weapons were entirely useless. So in this split-second decision of just ultimate bravery, she sacrificed her own life. By doing that, her soul stayed tethered to the mortal realm, and it formed this impenetrable, divine shield of maternal protection entirely around her daughter.
When the Baba finally figures out what's blocking the demon's path, he is just completely awestruck. He says, she is a goddess herself. He realizes that a mother willingly sacrificing her own soul so her child can survive goes way beyond human nature. It literally ascends to the level of the divine.
It sets up this incredible juxtaposition. On one side, you have the Bog, this unstoppable ancient evil fueled by death, greed, and centuries of dark curses. But standing right in its way is Selvi's spirit, fueled by pure, unconditional love, self-sacrifice, and maternal protection. And the truly beautiful part? The darkness just cannot penetrate the light of that love. The demon is stopped dead in its tracks, completely paralyzed by a mother's devotion.
Section 5. The Final Maha-Arti, Trapping the Bog.
But listen, the demon hasn't given up yet. With 2 souls already down, it's stronger than ever. To stop this creature permanently before that astrological window closes, the Baba comes up with a highly risky 3-step strategy. Step 1, and this sounds crazy, they have to actually burn Selvi's buried body to legally free her soul, which strips away the protective shield. Step 2, they use that opening to bait the trap, letting the demon finally approach Shakti. And Step 3, they have to time this entire thing exactly with the village temple's Maha-Arti, using that massive surge of divine energy to trap and destroy the demon once and for all.
The stakes literally could not be higher here. Human power, the police, the lawyers, whoever, they're all utterly useless at this point. The combined spiritual energy of the village festival is the only weapon they've got left, and the ticking clock is deafening. If they don't perfectly synchronize the demon's attack with the temple bells by that evening, the demon achieves ultimate power. And if that happens, it's not just Shakti who pays the price. The entire village is going to be slaughtered.
Ultimately, what makes this narrative so compelling to me isn't just the jump scares or the complicated mythology of the demon. It's how flawlessly the story weaves this intricate supernatural puzzle with a deeply emotional family drama. The sheer horror of the monster is entirely grounded by the very real, very human theme of sacrifice.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to ponder as we wrap up today's explainer. When the dust finally settles and these massive supernatural forces clash, what is truly more powerful? The ancient, carefully calculated curses of the dark world, or the unbreakable, enduring, spontaneous shield of a mother's love? It really just goes to show you, when faced with ultimate darkness, never, ever underestimate the divine power of human sacrifice. Thanks so much for joining me today, and keep asking the right questions.